because I ain't really went in there to steal. I didn't like him after all the stories and all the things he told me, you know what I mean? So I went to jail for that, and I got out like 3 days ago. 3 days after that, and I got on probation. So I've been on probation since I've been 14. Yeah, I'm 26 now. It's like, it's more things, that came about with the jail situations, but that was my first time going to jail.
So your experience in jail?
It depends on what you mean. If you're talking about juvie, it was like a bad daycare. It was like a bad daycare. Like the inmates, they could hit the guards and the guards can't hit them. You still get food, like great food, like they feeding you in juvenile. You still go to school in juvenile. It's a lot of fights though. It's more fights in juvenile than it would ever be in a grown man jail. In a county jail, they fight like cats and dogs in juvenile. But if you're talking about the county jail, I actually went to jail. I actually got out of juvenile. I gotta tell that because it's like a gap right there. See, I actually, after the time I got locked up with the burglary, the break-in, I got out and I had this spar going on. It kind of transferred from, I ended up getting locked up for my music video. I ended up getting locked up for lyrics of my song. Once I got on probation, I was on like a strict probation. I had to check in with my PO at least like once a week, you know what I mean? Like, so that was the deal. But things came up to whereas in I was chilling with a friend group and something came up to whereas in the friend, all of us just started like breaking up. Like the friend group started breaking up. Somebody out my friend group ended up dissing me in a song. They made a diss song, they dissed me in a song. Spiral of events happened after that, you know what I mean? And one of the events was me going back to jail because my probation officer saw the video. He learned the music, he actually knew the word, and he took me back to court and he violated me for having a gun in the video, for smoking weed in the video, making threats in the video, things like that. So I actually went back to juvenile for that diss record.
What was your experience like in jail?
Regular jail, it was, when I was 17, I went to the county jail for my first time. I was charged with fleeing to elude, and I was charged with some aggravated assaults. I went to jail, I ended up getting a lawyer, he ended up getting the aggravated assaults dropped, the fleeing to elude stuck, that was my charge. So in my city, fleeing to elude is, you have to do a year minimum off of fleeing to elude. So me being 17 and going to jail, I'm used to juvenile. I'm used to being loud, I'm used to being reckless, I'm used to cursing and disturbing the peace, you know what I mean, in juvenile, because it's a zoo, you know? When I went to the county, it was more like respect for, the inmates had more respect for another. So what I mean by that is, I remember when I felt like a guard was kind of getting on my nerves and playing with me. So I started being loud, I started being obnoxious, I started like yelling and, cursing and telling them they don't know who they fucking with and da-da-da, like stuff like that. And it was this one dude, he was older, he kind of called me down to the table to play cards with him. Once I played cards with him, he kind of like picked the right time to like, hey, little bro, let me talk to you. So we went on the rec yard and I talked to him and he was just like, hey, you see that man over there? I was like, yeah. He was like, he got life. He like, you see that man over there? I'm like, yeah, he got 10 years. I'm like, damn, like, wow, you know what I mean? I never met people with life and 10 years and already been to prison and, I'm 17 at the time. So he like, they still got a family out there, little bro. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got a family. He like daughters, mamas, aunties, like they still wanna talk to him. And I was like, yeah. He was like, you know what happens if you go to yelling and you go to turning up and these people can't talk to they folks? I'm like, what you mean? He was like, this not juvenile. He like, if you turn up in here, they're gonna shut the whole dorm down, little bro. So that mean that person with life, he can't call home and talk to his daughter today. That person who got 10 years, he can't call and check up on his mama who probably sick right now. You gotta be more, and the way he told me, it wasn't to like belittle me. I know when somebody trying to keep it real with me, you know what I mean? And he was just like, he heard me talk before because he could hear like in the room, in the vent. He was like, little bro, you a smart dude. You know what I'm saying? You a smart young dude, but you gotta mature up when you in here because people will fight you. Like people will try to hurt you in here because like you doing things that could prevent them from seeing their loved ones or seeing the ones they care about and they already going through a lot. So that bid right there taught me like respect for others. You know what I mean? Like it's not all about me. It's not my world. You know what I'm saying? We share a world and you gotta have ultimate respect for people because you don't know what the next person going through at all. You know, so that's what I learned my first bid. You know, I also learned about, you know, believing in God. I used to be a young dude who really ain't believe in God. I'm gonna be the first one to say it. And like at the time, I didn't know what my charge held. I never been away from home for more than a month. I just got fresh out of juvenile. For you to tell me I gotta be in here over 10 months, I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So it's like every day I felt those 24 hours. Every day I felt those 24 hours. And it was one time I got into a fight. I went to the hole. I was in the room for 24 hours. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't get out the room to call. I couldn't get out the room to wash. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to have your bed made up and you had to be standing up at 5:30 sharp for you to get 1 hour out the room. That's your reward for having your room clean and you're up with your jump on and you look presentable. You could come out the room for 1 hour when you in the hole in the county jail, in my county jail. So, well, they county jail, not my county jail. But so I kept missing my hour. I kept missing it. And I really wanted to talk to my mom. I really miss my folks. Like I never been away from home this long. You know what I mean? And I took a look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, dang, man, I'm down bad. You know, I'm worth more than this. You know what I mean? I just had a moment to myself where I knew I didn't want to be in jail. I knew I didn't want to be the person that just keep coming back. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of hit my knees and I prayed. Like I didn't know how to pray. You know, I didn't know what I was saying. I just prayed. You know, I had my first talk with God and it made me feel better. You know, it gave me ambition again. It gave me my strength back. And believe it or not, the next 3 days, they came to my dorm and they was like, hey, we got a deal for you. You about to go home. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? Like, it's like God wouldn't let me out of the cell until like I really repent to him. You know what I mean? And that was like my first real testimony. Like, I honestly didn't know when I was going home. I didn't know what was going on with my case, but when I dropped down to my knees and I prayed, God showed me the way. You know what I'm saying? He let me out and I had another chance. And like, it was like almost he snatched me out. It was so quick. It was like, as soon as I got done praying, I don't even think it was 3 days. I really want to say like the next day, they came and was like, hey, we got a court date. And then the court date was so close and like, I was home for sure. But those lessons from jail. It's like in the county jail, once you open your brain and you ready to mature, you'll start seeing things for what it really is, not what you want it to be.
Was that your last time being locked up?
No, I was 17. I got out 5 months later. I was still in high school at the time. I got out, went back to high school. I ended up catching 3 gun charges. They charged me with 2 pistols and a rifle. I got caught with 3 guns before school. And I was out on first offenders from my previous case. So they violated my first offenders. And I sat a year in the county, which is amazing. I still got blessed. You know, I didn't have to do any crazy, make a statement or no crazy stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I violated my first offenders. And to believe it or not, the reason I didn't go to prison is because I kept pushing back my court date. Like a lot of people might not know what that means, but when you violate your probation, you're supposed to go to prison before they handle your case. You're supposed to already be in prison. You're supposed to come back down to your county to handle those current charges you caught. But I listened to this old guy and he was telling me like, hey, when you go in that courtroom, don't let them revoke your probation. So that means fire your lawyer. Don't go in the courtroom with a lawyer. If you go in the courtroom with a lawyer, they can't prosecute you unless you say you're defending yourself. So every time I went in the courtroom, I told them, hey, I don't have a lawyer. They say, hey, get you a public defender. I say, okay. I go back, I never get a public